This is the main event. Mark's Podcast, brought to you by Belly Up Unhinged Radio Network Sports. I'm your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, and cat dad. I am Troy. And with me, as always, he is the main event collector and figure hunting warrior. He's the WCW watcher of classic wrestling, and the Ultimo Dragon to my Sonny Ono. He is Greg. What's up, Greg?
I don't know what to say. He doesn't speak English, I don't think.
Yeah, I do all the talking for you, while you just do all the cool moves in the back.
Oddly enough, I think he speaks Japanese and Spanish. I don't think he speaks English.
From what I heard, he speaks like the bare minimum of English, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will correct me. Well, actually I met him at an autograph signing, and he said two words to me that were in plain English, so you were wrong.
Were those two words F off?
They should be. No, they were get deodorant. No? Is that too far? Because I don't think so.
Would plans change to be too cliche?
Well, I don't know. Well, plans did change for this one today, and we'll actually talk about it. Not on our end, but the show itself. Because today we are going back to the spring of 1997. Spring is in the air, man. We're officially in April, and this is our very first ever Spring Stampede show that we've ever done. And
I hate the spring.
Yeah, I do too. Because here in Ohio,
I like the cold. I'm sick of the heat.
What's cold to you?
60, 65.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, well, it was 80 yesterday. Or 85,
wow.
I mean, and it was hot as hell. I can't take this. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate the California weather. People will brag about it. I mean, it's great looking outside. I just hate walking in it and stuff.
Yeah, it goes back and forth, with that. But for us out here in Ohio, I hate the spring because one day it's literally in the 20s or in the teens, and then the very next day it'll be 70. So that's why I am always I can't breathe through the spring here in Ohio. But
cool, I will never come out there then during the spring.
Yeah, no, either the winter, so you know what to expect and you bundle up, or the summer. Our summers are actually fairly decent, but
I've been there twice now with you. It was February and September. Yeah,
it wasn't too bad in September. Yeah, I didn't realize until we started doing, or I started watching the show. I'm like, I don't think we ever did a Spring Stampede before, and no, this is our first one.
I don't think there were many of them.
No, there's a huge gap. This is the first one since 1994, actually. So there was 3 years without a Spring Stampede, or 2 years. I know, it was sorely missed. But either way. But we'll talk about all that. There's actually not too much news to talk about, but some of the things, it was, a shakeup post-WrestleMania. Not in WWF, but just around the wrestling world and even in the MMA world. And MMA is actually going to open up our news on the other end of this break. But first, we're going to pause right quick to let you know that the main event Marks is sponsored by Swift Lifestyles. Their clean energy drinks and focus enhancers, great tasting vitamins, and big brain nootropics that are made and shipped from the USA. Go to swiftlifestyles.com and use our special promo code Main Event Marks. That is all one word to get 15% off your order. It's Main Event Marks, all one word, for 15% off your order. And now that we're done with that, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, it's news and notes time right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get ready to rumble! In your new Main Event Marks merchandise, we've got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, hats, stickers, pins, and much more on our Redbubble store. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. You can also pick up some awesome clothing items with the latest updated show graphics on our Bonfire store. That's bonfire.com/store/main event marks. Support your favorite retro wrestling podcast and pick up some cool swag on our Bonfire and Redbubble stores. That's maineventmarks.com/store/main maineventmarks.redbubble.com and bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan McCarthy and I'm the host of the No Credentials Required podcast. Start your work week with the Monday Drop-In, where I talk about the sports beat in the Capital District, also known as the Muddy 518, as well as Metro New York sports from an upstate point of view. I also give a life lesson from a weekly sports story, so you might learn something from that. I also have a midweek podcast where I interview different sports personalities and talk about a wide array of topics. Take a listen and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check out our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, BellyUpNCR, and Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. We're a part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network in association with Godzilla Media. No credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back. Just to let you know, the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Shocked Energy. Shocked Energy is a healthier alternative to traditional energy drinks. It gives the energy that gamers need while in a long session without skimping on their health. Their products come in a powder form to mix into your water. You can either choose the green apple or watermelon boxes. If you want to try both, you can get the sample kit. Use our link in the podcast description or simply go to shockedenergy.com. At checkout, use our promo code MAINEVENT, that's all one word, to save 10% off your order. That's promo code MAINEVENT to save 10% at checkout. News and notes from April of 1997. We're actually opening up, like I said, with MMA, and this used to be a staple on the show where we would always open up with death
or anything like sexual.
Yeah, I usually put like the obituary stuff at the beginning, and there was a wrestler who died, but I know that I didn't know who he was. I guarantee you didn't know who he was. He was like a 1950s wrestler. So I, no offense to him or anybody. I'm sure he had fans. We would have nothing to say about it. So why put it in the news? But this is not a person who died, but rather a company. The MMA company Extreme Fighting Championships has basically been driven out of business by the government crackdowns on the sport. They just had a pay-per-view event and went out in style, saying that the show was the best MMA event in America since the sport began.
I'm sure.
Have you ever heard of Extreme Fighting Championship?
I've not. Should I have?
I have no idea. I've never, like I said, I never heard of this. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm not a big MMA aficionado, but...
Well, I've never heard of it, therefore it does not exist.
Exactly. Yeah, MMA is in a state of flux in 1997. Obviously, we talked about, is it like 2001 when UFC takes off, really?
2, 3, something like that.
Yeah, because I know in 2001 is where they were bought by Dana White and the Fertittas. So past that, I don't know when it was they like blew up. Either way, sticking with the MMA stuff here, this one's kind of funny because of where it would go. Nobuhiko Takada's new shoot fight promotion in Japan will be called Kingdom and will feature worked UFC-style matches. That doesn't actually happen, as it ends up becoming Pride. Many former UWFI wrestlers have signed on to join the promotion. To this day, I think there's confusion and disagreement over how many and which fights in Pride were worked and which were legit.
It was Pride. They all sucked.
I've never watched a Pride fight, so I have no opinion on the matter.
I haven't. I was just playing.
I did hear that, especially towards the end, the Yakuza got involved a lot, so there were a lot of questionable finishes and whatnot. So, and I heard that was actually why they got shut down, was because they just kept having to deal with the Yakuza, and it just wasn't working out.
Shut it down.
Wow. That's like the second thing, because if anybody watches The Dark Side of the Ring on FMW.
So
Yakuza,
it's funny you said that. I was just thinking, like, is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's well, for people that don't know what the Yakuza is, it's the Japanese mafia. So
No such thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, right. But yeah, they got involved with FMW. They got involved with Pride. There were rumors that they were involved in a couple other things involving like Antonio Inoki and whatnot as well. But I don't know about all that. I can't speculate. But yeah, that's all.
Don't deal in rumor and innuendo.
Yeah, I think that's all we deal in here, especially when we can laugh at it. This one, who was I just talking about at the beginning of the show with Sonny Ono? Eric Bischoff and Sonny Ono showed up at the New Japan Pro Wrestling show last week and did an angle where Masa Saito quit New Japan and joined the NWO. There's also reportedly plans for most of the NWO, including Hogan, Nash, and Hall, if he's able, to go to Japan for a New Japan show at the Osaka Dome in May.
He's able. Was that Meltzer?
Well, they're referring to his injury, not anything else. Because at this time,
forgive me. I mean,
yeah,
you have to understand what I thought, but
yeah, I mean that too. So it is true. He's got a lot going on at this time. Actually, he's going through an ugly divorce and a couple other things. So
that's some good news. Huh?
Yeah, right. But
shoot my leg out of that bear trap.
Right. The NWO angle, rather, to wrap this up, is doing huge business in Japan. So that's why they're trying to bring over all the big stars and whatnot. So
they eventually get Masa, Mahiro Chono.
Yeah, right. So they got Masahiro Chono, Masa Saito.
Masa, my hero. Can you get it right, please?
No, I'm good. Who the hell would call him their hero?
Eric Bischoff.
Ugh.
He literally came up with that.
Yeah, and look, he was a huge star in Japan. All right, I get it, but good Lord, he I think you and I talked about this, where it's like I never saw a Masahiro Chono match that made me go, oh wow, he's good.
He had that rat tail and that kind of mullet happening, and that was it.
Yeah, oh yeah, that sweet mullet.
It was a lot of business, not a lot of party going on.
Yeah, unfortunately. But he did look kind of like the Japanese Terminator in a way. So there's that, I guess. Or like, I don't know, Terminator crossed with Matrix. I don't even know what the hell he was going for, honestly. But this one is a death, and it's kind of sad. But it's nobody that you and I would know. It's
cool. I was hoping you were going to get us with one of the fun deaths.
A student at the WCW power plant who wrestled under the name Sharky was murdered in Marietta, Georgia. This after an argument with another driver turned violent, and he was shot. The shooter turned himself in later. Jeez. Damn. Yeah, that just goes to show everybody, like, you don't know what the other dude on the road is packing or how crazy they are or are not. Just let it go, man.
I've said that a million times to people.
Yep. Yeah, because it's like, you might not escalate it, but...
Especially in this country, how easy it is to get a freaking gun. Please.
My uncle used to carry an airsoft gun under his, like, the front seat of his car to try to, like, intimidate people, like, if they came at him. But my dad pointed out, he was like, okay, but what if they do pull a real firearm on you, and all you have is that?
Oh, but I was just playing. This isn't real.
Yeah, right. It's like, that's just stupid. I don't know. Like, this kind of crap happens more than is even reported on. Somebody gets mad because you cut them off, and a fight starts. Somebody pulls out a weapon. Boom.
Look, and you might have to bleep this, but look, you're not a bitch if you walk away from a fight. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, you're not.
Yeah.
I'd rather not deal with that crap.
Even in fist fights nowadays, man, like if somebody's losing, they'll pull out a knife and, finish it off that way. Pretty pathetic, but it happens. So, maybe don't let it happen,
Maybe just let people talk.
Yep. Not to get all PSA on everybody in the middle of the podcast here, but seriously, this
is something that needs to be said. There's a lot of stuff like this in the world, and people are idiots, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna pull a gun and kill somebody. What the hell did you just solve?
Yep. And now you ended their life, and then you're going away for a long time, if not forever. So dumb.
Depending on the state, you may be dying too. So think about that. So.
Yep. Stupid. But either way, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff missed Nitro this past week because they were in Chicago for the premiere of Dennis Rodman's movie Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, man, that movie was brutal.
I've never heard of it. I never watched it. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Okay, you've now heard of it. Don't watch it.
I have.
And you know it's a thing. Well, there you go.
God. Yeah, I know, right?
Before you remember an episode of Friends with the birthing video?
Yes.
I was like, I should warn you before you watch it. Don't watch it.
You're right. I'm honestly curious though. I didn't know that he was an actor.
Rodman, this was like it was 1997. It was his big year. The Bulls are champions, or about to be champions again. He's doing wrestling. He's in movies. I think he's married to Carmen Electra. This is his year, dude. So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I didn't know he did anything like that. I will say my favorite movie besides Space Jam with a basketball player in it is definitely Shazam. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Space Jam 1 all day, but that was Shazam was funny too though. Space Jam 2 can rot in hell. It's a pile of crap, but Space Jam 1 is a classic.
Yeah, I've never seen Space Jam 2, mostly because I just don't like LeBron, for
he's
reasons.
From Cleveland. You love him.
Oh, eat ass. No, he's from Akron. All right,
that's close enough.
Yeah, it's the crap hole outside of Cleveland, which isn't all that great.
That's like when someone's from Berkeley and they say they're from Oakland.
Yeah. Well, he gave us the middle finger multiple times. He lives in LA and has for a long time, so they can have it. All right, I'm coming down off my soapbox here, but yeah, either
in my head, NorCal and SoCal are two different states, so yeah, they can have them.
They basically are. Yeah. From everything I've never been out there, but from everything I've heard from everybody who lives in that area, yes, it is basically two different states.
I was actually all for that splitting of the state when they were thinking about it.
Right. All right. Well, this is the longest story of the podcast, but before I get into it, this week in ECW.
If I may have another volley, sir.
If I may have another turd thrown in the punch bowl, sir.
Or a fish thrown at a fan.
Oh, my God.
For those of you who listened to the last episode, I'm already telling TJ, we're covering that next year. Listen for that. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, thanks.
TJ does most of the booking, but I am insisting that we do this one.
Yeah, we're gonna. if I can find it, we'll do it. Because we got to talk about the stupidity. By the way, somebody.
Before we even start, man, somebody I know, you might be saying the same thing I'm about to say. Some guy said we had balls or something like that to cover this crap. And,
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I was like, it's somewhat therapeutic when we cover the horrible ones.
We're
just laughing right here. I swear, it's fun, and I get a release from it.
Right.
I go through some stress right now, and this is really good. Sorry, I know it sounds sick.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we're referencing our Destination X 2007 pay-per-view review. So go check that out.
Now in the archives.
Yes. But this one. There are lots of rumors that Rob Van Dam may be leaving ECW for WCW. Recently, someone asked Rob Van Dam about his martial arts background, and Van Dam told them, quote, wait a few weeks and you'll hear about it from Mike Tenay, end quote. Wow.
Well, I love Mike Tenay, but he's a freaking mark, so you might hear from him anyways. So.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he'll be out there for 5 minutes, and Tenay will run down his whole history from birth until now. But Sabu, word is that Sabu has also sent out feelers to the WWF, hoping that they would bring him in, but word is that the WWF isn't all that interested due to Sabu's track record. I don't know what they're referencing here, but I assume he was known as hard to work with.
He got kicked out of WCW early on.
Oh, they kicked him out.
And they had said it on TV. If I remember correctly, I believe they said he has been banned from TNT because he is too extreme or too hardcore. Maybe they didn't use extreme. That'd be too much of a pun, but he's too hardcore or something, or too violent.
Good Lord.
So, yeah, that was real. So in the first couple of weeks of Nitro, I want to say.
Jeez.
I could be off on that, but he's definitely on there.
I didn't even know about that. Wow. Okay. Well, either way,
also, real quick, that's only a couple of months prior to what we're talking about right here, too. I think about it. This is April?
Yeah.
That's 97. Never mind. I'm in the wrong year. Never mind. No, it was a while back.
Okay. Well, Sabu is still under contract until with ECW until the end of the year, regardless. Overall, there's a lot of stress in ECW backstage, mostly because the pay-per-view is coming up and everyone's nervous. I forgot. This was their first pay-per-view, wasn't it, in 97?
Yeah, which is funny. They're nervous, and yet WWE promoted the hell out of it.
Yeah, right. Was it Living Dangerously?
Barely Legal.
Barely Legal. Okay. Yeah,
which, if I'm correct, is the only Barely Legal ever, right? Is it?
No, I think there were a few of them, actually.
Okay, never mind. There's a pay-per-view they did. They only used one name once, so I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay. Plus, there are concerns over WCW being interested in poaching their stars. After a recent show, Heyman gave a 75-minute speech to all the wrestlers. It was basically a motivational, quote, let's all pull together as a group and make this succeed speech. He talked about Sabu sacrificing so much for the company, and it had Sabu in legit tears. WCW also has a show coming up in Philadelphia the night after the ECW pay-per-view. Heyman said that if anyone from the company goes to that WCW show, don't ever talk to him again, because any relationship they have, friend or business, would be gone forever, bro. He said that it's
kind of childish, but okay.
Yeah, I know. If you go to the other wrestling company's show, I will never speak to you again, sir.
Well, I can totally understand. Hey, don't go to the other show. I mean, you shouldn't.
Right.
But I'll never speak to you again. It sounds like two kids who trade toys and something went bad. I don't want to talk to you ever again. You're not my friend anymore.
Yeah, don't. If you talk to Johnny over there, then we're not friends. Yeah, stupid.
We heard you're talking to Stacy, and we don't like you anymore because we don't like Stacy.
Yeah,
Stacy's
right.
a bitch. Good
Lord. Basically. He said that if anyone wants to leave ECW, to tell him now, and he'd get them a meeting with Vince McMahon, or he'd release them from their contract and let them negotiate with WCW. Van Dam was the only person to tell Heyman that he was considering the WCW offer, and that he would at least be staying with ECW through June.
Oh, well, this is a man about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was ever really quiet about wanting to get out of ECW, but then again, I don't think he made a real play for it, because I can almost guarantee WWF would have taken him if he really wanted to make the jump.
Oh, he did appear on Raw multiple times, don't forget.
Yeah, that's why he started calling himself Mr. Monday Night, yeah. But I don't know. He did wrestle in all three companies because he was like a jobber. Was it Robbie V?
Robbie V, yes.
Yeah, wearing a gi and all that stuff, yeah, so. I don't know. But
kind of a stretch, isn't it?
Right. Well, was it Raven popped up in 97, was it? End of 97, WCW?
I want to say it was like August, September, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so Raven wasn't going to be hanging around here for long. I mean, he'd be back, but yeah.
Yeah, how about that? He'd be back after Paul telling people, I'll never talk to you again. Except for Johnny Polo, though. We'll bring him back.
Yeah, it's like, I will never speak to you again, sir, unless I think you can make me money. Anyway, speaking of making
Business
money.
101.
Yep. Speaking of making money, ECW made a ton of money on merchandise and ran 3 shows over the weekend. It said that they have made the most money ECW has ever brought in on a single weekend. On a side note.
So, what, like $50 instead of 20?
Yeah, I was thinking that. It's like, so did you mark the price of shirts up from like 10 to 15?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I need some heat. Actually.
Wow. Well, this will get you. On a side note, before one of the shows in Pittsburgh, they frisked fans for weapons. They ended up finding a ton of people trying to bring knives into the building, and they ended up confiscating them. Go figure.
I'm not even slightly shocked.
Wait a minute. Wrestling fans in Pennsylvania might get violent and bring in weapons? Tell me another one.
Now, I wouldn't have chosen Pittsburgh as my first choice. Probably was my second. But, whatever.
Look, I think I've said this on the podcast before. Like, Cleveland doesn't really care about Philadelphia, that much. Like, obviously our rivals are Pittsburgh. But, man, every time, like, the Eagles or the Phillies or something comes to town, there's always fights breaking out in the stands. Every time. And I've heard other teams talk about that, too. They said every time the Philly team comes to town, there was fights. Like, is that just a thing?
Gimmick, bro.
Yeah, right. I was like, hey, the worst the Bills Mafia will do is just beat up inanimate objects or themselves. So there's
do that all day.
Yeah, right. Sticking with the ECW stuff, I got 2 more stories here. Chris Candido suffered a partial bicep tear and may need surgery that will keep him out of action for a while. He actually only ended up missing about a month. Sandman also suffered 3 cracked ribs, but is still expected to work the pay-per-view.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Well, if somebody's going to have their performance hindered by an injury, it's got to be Sandman, right?
We don't want him, below par.
Yeah, right. I don't think I've ever seen him at par.
Yes, you have. That's the problem.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. Why don't they just liquor him up? It's not like he's going to feel anything. Like, good Lord.
Smashed a million cans on his head. Never drew a dime.
Wow. Last ECW thing I have here is just wow. Not shocking, but wow. Missy Hyatt was on the Howard Stern Easter special this week.
Not even shocked where this is going.
Yeah, she was in a segment where Stern finger painted her boobs.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that's was this a radio show or was he on TV at this point or some kind of video?
I think he was. It was always radio, and they had a video on E, if I remember correctly.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, how did they would do this stuff that would require visuals, and it's like you're on radio. I don't know. I always thought it was stupid, and I never got it. Anyway. Last couple stories I got here. Fake Diesel and Fake Razor are still working under those gimmicks at AAA shows in Mexico. WWF, however, is pretty much done with them. You don't say.
Totally. How did they get away with that?
Well, WWF sent them down there. They're still under WWF contract.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just doing it.
No, they sent them that because they had a working relationship with AAA at this time still, but yeah.
We're in April, and Fake Diesel is about to take a drastic turn.
You don't say. Unfortunately for Rick Bogner, he, Fake Razor there, he didn't really do anything else. I think he went to Japan for a little while as Big Titan and had a few things, but I don't know. Last story I have here is just ridiculous. USWA.
Oh, wow. I didn't know the rest of this was good. Okay.
USWA is reportedly only doing about $10,000 per week in total business, and a lot of people feel that the promotion is on its dying last legs. You don't say. USWA, by the way, is the Memphis territory, still kind of trying to hang on at this point. And also, they are trying to get Jerry Lawler's girlfriend Stacy over as a Sunny type character. Yeah. How would that work out? Speaking of people who...
his job?
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, speaking of people who needed to get out of a terrible marriage, there you go. But all right, that does it for the news and notes. I had told you there wasn't a lot of huge news here, but there was some interesting stuff, oddly enough, out of ECW this week. We're going to take our next break.
They give me some good news going into their very first pay-per-view, but nope.
Yep, no, it's all...
And people still give me crap about why I give crap to that company.
We're going into our first pay-per-view, and everybody still wants to quit. It's pretty sad. But anyway... We're going to take our next break here. When we come back, it's WCW Spring Stampede. Right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
This message is brought to you by Belly Up Sports. No, just kidding. This is not an NWO promo. This is just me, Kyle Sullivan, aka Shaggy Von Doom, the host of Here in Puckburg on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. I have a hockey podcast where we talk about hockey fandom and the love of the game and where that leads you in this game we call life. Why am I on Main Event Marks telling you about this? Well, what if I told you I had one half of the world's greatest tag team, otherwise known as the Main Event Marks, the one and only Greg, Superfly Greg. He was on, and he was talking about his love of the game. So you might want to come over and check that episode out. And if you like what you hear, you can check out the rest of our incredible episodes with our incredible hockey community, from PHF athletes, ESPN personalities, fathers of NHL players, and a whole lot more. Come by, follow the show, give a like, give a subscribe, and it'd be great to have you here in Puckburg. But enough about me. Let's get back to what you're really here for, the Main Event Marks, because they are the cream of the crop. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back. It's WCW Spring Stampede 1997. It took place on April 6, 1997. The tagline, get ready for this one. These men do solemnly swear to kick, fight, punch, stomp, and flatten anybody who gets in their way.
Oh, man, that's a winded tagline.
That took up the whole VHS box.
And there's still a couple of dots on the end.
Yeah, right. The venue was the Tupelo Coliseum in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah, because
this thing keeps getting whiter.
Like, they go to Mississippi. Okay, first of all, I mean, I don't have a punchline here, but you go to Mississippi and the city you pick is Tupelo. Now, again, I don't know Mississippi off the top of my head, so I couldn't even tell you what the capital is. Unless Tupelo is their capital, I don't know. But yeah.
Well, Tupelo had a lot of wrestling history in it, so maybe that's why, maybe that is a big city down there, because I've heard of a lot of stuff. Like, if you go back to, wrestling history, like, the Memphis territory used to go there a lot back when they were popular, so... Any
chance that's where Ole Miss is? I'm actually being serious.
You know what? I don't know off the top of my head. I don't pay too much attention to them, actually.
Isn't that where Brett Favre went to school?
I want to say yes. They're in Oxford, Mississippi. Yes, there's an Oxford, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I guess, Spring Stampede live from Tupelo, Mississippi sounds better than live from Oxford, Mississippi. I don't know. Does it?
Right. I guess. I don't know. How did they miss the chance to have a Tupelo concession stand brawl, though? I mean, not that I wanted one. Right. I figured they would have went with it because they were going super Southern white on this one, which kind of shocks me because they're in the NWO era and Bischoff was always heavy on, I didn't want to be a regional Southern wrestling company and whatever. So You do this? All right. But the attendance was 8,356, and the pay-per-view buy rate wasn't fantastic, but it was a .58.
I watched this live.
Well, I will say I can't blame anybody for you had a scrambler box at your neighbor's house.
I didn't do it, not me.
Yep. I mean, I can't blame anybody for looking at this card and being like, maybe I'll save my money. I mean, it didn't. There were a couple good things on here.
Books can be deceiving.
Yeah, that is true. We found that out quite a few times. But this is, like I said, the first Spring Stampede since 1994. This event is played up as having 3 main events, by the way. Scott Hall is injured, so Kevin Nash has to wrestle alone against the Steiner brothers tonight. Uncle Dave calls WCW reprehensible for the fact that they knew weeks ago that Scott Hall would not be there, but continued to advertise him for the show. Even during the pre-show, they teased that Hall and Nash would be defending the titles.
I mean, card substitute change, right?
Yeah. There's something to be said for it's like, okay, if you know well enough in advance somebody's not going to be there, maybe don't advertise them like they are going to be there, but I don't know. Maybe they were holding out hope. So, really don't. And maybe they were hoping he'd come in and at least make an appearance. I don't know. But this first match was Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono in his corner taking on Rey Mysterio Jr. in about 15 minutes. In the middle of this match, we go to a split screen where Lee Marshall's in the back trying to get a great interview with Kevin Nash.
I see you there.
Yeah, right. Six opens Nash's locker room door instead, glares at Lee, and then closes the door. In the end...
Okay, I'm not trying to be weird, but I seem a little bit like, what the fuck are they doing in there? Hey, 2 inches on, I don't judge, but like that's the way it looked.
He's like, go away, Lee. I'm oiling his pecs.
I think Johnny Ace is there at this time too.
Yeah, right. In the end, Mysterio hits a springboard Hurricane Rana into a pin for the win. Uncle Dave gave this 4.25 stars. I gave it 3.5. What say you?
I gave it 4. It was excellent.
Yeah, every time these two locked up, it was great.
I do like how Mike Tenay, by the way, had like a breakdown. Oh, they fought last year. Was it World War III? I think he said Hog Wild. Not in that order. And this is the pay-per-view rubber match. So,
yeah, that was
pretty cool.
Yeah. And obviously, Rey Mysterio was going to be
97
international star.
97 with these two. Come on. You're an idiot if you don't think this is going to be like good out of the gate. It gets 3 stars on paper already.
Rey Mysterio opening a pay-per-view is just like chef's kiss good. Like, I don't think he's ever had a bad show opener ever.
Like Johnny B. Bad.
Yeah, right. Which is weird to say, but, very true. Keep in
mind, I did say Johnny B. Bad. I did not say Mark Mero. I want to point that out.
No. That is a big distinction. Yes. Because Mark Mero certainly did have some bad ones. We go backstage now with Lee Marshall knocking on Nash's door again. Six answers again, but Marshall demands to see Nash. Scott Steiner then runs up and security holds him back from assaulting Nash and Six. They can't hold him back. Steiner swings and hits a cop, and they pepper spray him, take him down, and handcuff him. And then they announce later that he's been arrested. So...
I also want to point out, you didn't either. Nobody pointed out that Nash spat on him first to make him do that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Everyone missed that or something, but...
They did point it out on commentary because they're like, oh, he spit on him.
I didn't catch them say that. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to put it in my notes, but yeah, because they were like, oh, yeah, and Nash egged it on, he spit at him. I think Heenan pointed it out, actually. But
it's just funny watching Heenan in defending the face.
Right, I know. The NWO was the only time he ever did that.
Except for that one time where he joined him for like 5 minutes.
Right. We now go to Akira Hokuto with Sonny Ono in her corner. Man, Sonny's working hard tonight, man. But she's defending the WCW Ladies World Championship against Madusa. in 5 minutes, 14 seconds. I thought it was funny that Ono was taking selfies with Hokuto on the way to the ring.
I made this in my notes. I'm like, did he invent the selfie?
I think so. Yeah, because he's like holding up it, and it looked like an iPhone, the shape of the camera.
Yeah,
I'm like, I had to remind myself. I'm like, wait a minute, this is 1997. What's going on here? But
is it in this match, by the way, where they're promoting WCWWrestling.com, which is just funny because like, it's a brand new thing. Okay.
Yeah,
I forgot. I remembered it mentally. I just forgot to write it down. But it's like, wow, they're talking about the internet. It's still brand new. Like Al Gore just made it.
Good Lord.
Now on the archives, by the way, on YouTube. Go look at that. Listen, it's fun.
Yeah, go check out where we talk about Al Gore inventing internet porn. So, I will say, when they announced, did you think it was weird that it was WCWWrestling.com?
I did, but then I started thinking about like maybe there was already at WCW.com, like Women Crush Wednesday. I don't know.
Well, they could have made it like
when you see that on Twitter nowadays, it's not me World Championship Wrestling, but I don't know if they had that back then. So I don't know.
In my opinion, they should have named it like WCWrestling.com. Like that would have made more sense. But yeah, I don't know. But it's kind of like ATM machine, like that's what the M stands for. But either way, I'm picking at something that doesn't even exist anymore. But Sonny Ono gets involved a few times, choking Madusa on the bottom rope. When Ono distracts the ref one time, Madusa picks up Hokuto for a powerbomb, and Luna Vachon runs in, kicking Madusa in the back of the knee. Hokuto sits on Medusa's chest for the pin. Uncle Dave gave this 2.5 stars. I gave it 2. What say you?
I gave it 2. It was not bad, actually. A lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, Akira Hokuto is pretty good. She's
even though really I had never heard of her until now.
I think, was that the one that they were talking about in when they went to Korea? It was her and the guy, I can't remember his name now. It was the Power Warrior. Oh, good Lord. It was the guy that was a Power Warrior. I can't think of his name. But I think it was those two that they said you could hear them throughout the entire hotel having very loud intercourse. And everybody was like, what the hell is going on? And they said that they said that it was like that for like a week, and it freaked everybody out. They're like, and then after that,
good for him.
Yeah, right. They ended up going back to Japan and getting married after that, I guess. Everybody was like, shocker.
It is kind of shocking. When you hear something like that, usually you think it's a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So we give him some credit for that?
Yeah, I mean, it is cool. But the weird part about it is they had a love story in North Korea. Like, because apparently they'd never met before.
Well, somebody's got to have one.
Yeah, right.
You've seen that place. I almost said you've been there. You know that. Yeah. You've seen the stuff about that place, though.
Yeah, I've seen the interview. Hey, I know what you're talking about. I saw the interview with Seth Rogen.
Right.
So, anyway.
Oh, man. I still think that was all a publicity stunt, but it was great. Yeah, right. I loved it. I don't care what anyone says. It was stupid as hell, but I loved it.
I like the guy that got to play Kim Jong-un. He's a good actor. Randall Park, I think. Or as fans of The Office may know him, the fake Jim. But anyway,
because Bobby Lee was busy that week. Sorry.
Good Lord. This
that would have been him. Really, you don't think so?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Part of that, what I said, was trying to be funny. Part of me, I was very serious. Come on.
Yeah, he's busy smoking weed and doing his own podcast now.
Still hilarious as hell. I miss Mad TV. Anyways, go on.
Did I completely missed this in 1997 where Luna Vachon was in WCW? I don't remember that. Okay, so that's on my
note right here. I think it's funny. She's on her way out to go be with the artist formerly known as Goldust very soon.
Really?
So she does not last very long. I believe that whole thing happens. Not to get negative, but right after Brian Pillman passes, they squash the whole thing with Marlena and him, and Goldust turns on her. That's when Luna comes in. I want to say it's around November.
Oh,
so
dang.
She's not there much longer. Yeah.
That's nuts. Was this her debut, or had she been there for a while?
I couldn't tell you. I feel like she'd been there because the way they reacted was like, oh my God, what is she doing here? That's what I'm going off of. So, yeah.
Right. They were like, oh, that's Luna Vachon. So I was like, is this her debut? And then, like you said, she's gone by the end of the year. So, not like, 6 months, maybe? She came in to work a program with Madusa and then left. I don't know.
It's funny, and I'm not crapping on her. It sucks that she's passed, but everyone's like, well, she never got a fair shake here or there. I mean, look, she sure did get fired a lot or let go, whatever. Right. Something to be said.
Yeah, I think if you watch her Dark Side of the Ring episode, another plug for them, I think they said she was on a lot of meds because she had a lot of mental issues, chemical imbalances,
that sucks,
and whatnot. Yeah, that stuff is really hard to take care of, and she was self-medicating on top of it, I guess. So that's not good. Transitioning from that to something else that was, I don't know. You always say, well, he wasn't that bad, but it's Prince Iaukea defending the WCW World Television title against Sir Steven Regal in 10 minutes. These two go back and forth like actual wrestling.
I just want to point out, yes, I do say that, and if this match doesn't prove that I'm right.
Yeah. It's not a barn burner, but it's not bad. But they go back and forth with actual chain wrestling and stuff. Regal is freaking awesome. He actually did a kip up in this match, which I was like, whoa.
So in my notes, I'm like, what the hell? Did Regal do a kip up?
Right. In the end, Regal tries to do a roll up. Iaukea sits on Regal's shoulders, hooks the leg, and he gets the pinfall win. Uncle Dave gave it a 1.5 stars, as did I. What say you?
I gave it 2. I really like this.
Yeah, I thought it was below average, but it was. Then again,
look, I think pure wrestling wise, this may be the best pure wrestling match of the night. Now, there's certainly far matches that are better, but Regal's just that good.
Oh yeah, I know and part of it is his own fault because he couldn't stay clean. But yeah, Regal was one of the best actual wrestlers of his time, I think, and he never got heavily featured in a top program until that King of the Ring run he had, and then I guess he messed that up too by doing was it roids that he got popped for?
I don't think he ever did roid. I don't know, but I feel like it was always cocaine or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I don't think he was ever big enough to be on roids.
Well, that was the thing that everybody else was saying because it was a big I think that was the same one where Mr. Kennedy got popped and a couple other people, and everybone's first reaction was Regal's on roids. It doesn't look like it.
Thinking back now, you might be right, and I'll tell you why I think so. Because do you remember randomly where he started wearing a full body singlet?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I want to say that's when he was coming off of it. You may be right. Maybe he bloated up or something.
Oh, okay. I thought he just started doing that because he was getting older, and he was, a lot of
because he eventually stopped. He lost it and started doing it. Started going shirtless again with just the tights. So,
right. Yeah.
I don't know. But
that sounds right. Yeah, I totally believe
he's
that.
alive and healthy, and he did not almost die this year, like some dumbasses on the internet say. By the way, okay.
Well, actually, Greg, I read in a certain article by a certain somebody that he has inside information from a certain rooster that he almost died this year. Sound about right?
I think Regal himself said he's almost died 20,000 times. This year was not one of them.
Right.
So,
Jim Ross said he was so high when he showed up for his WWF interview that he literally fell asleep in the meeting, in the middle of talking. So he's had a lot of health issues. Some of them caused by himself, and then he's also had a lot of bad luck. When they did a tour of India or Africa or something like that.
I heard the Jericho podcast, so that is when he literally almost died. Not this year, idiots.
Yeah, big difference. But after this match, Regal jumps Iaukea. He fights back, but Regal gets the upper hand. He nails Iaukea in the back with his TV title and then locks in the Regal stretch before the ref pulls him off. We now go to...
It looked like he was so uneasy doing that, by the way. Did you catch that?
To Regal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Either he didn't want to, he couldn't grip it, something was going on.
Yeah. He was like, whatever. He's slippery. I can't get a hold of him.
God. What the hell?
I don't know. We now go back to Mean Gene Okerlund on the stage, plugging the WCW hotline. He brings out Nature Boy Ric Flair for an interview.
Pause real quick. Do you know who the hell he was talking about with this click?
No.
I'm thinking Macho Man, like thinking. I'm like, who the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, because it's not the Horseman, because he brings out Flair to talk about the Horseman. And he talks about a, quote, new clique coming in.
It's not the actual clique.
Right. I mean, unless he was, full of crap, because the WCW hotline tended to, not give factual information.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Team
sorry.
Gene always gave the best news, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Those hotlines were always on the up and up, and they were always legit. Mean Gene, Mark Madden, and JR never ever once filled us full of crap and blew smoke up our asses. Never. I'm sorry. I take that back.
Mark Madden still does to this day.
You don't say. If he didn't, he wouldn't be Mark Madden. But anyway, Ric Flair comes out for an...
Sorry.
I second that. But Ric Flair comes out for an interview. He says that Arn Anderson will be back soon. Kevin Green is coming to team with the Horsemen soon. And Flair is gunning for Hollywood Hogan. Oh, yeah. This is going back in time a little bit. So this would only be match number 2,000 instead of 5,000.
638, I think.
Oh, okay.
Come on, you're overdoing it. Quit putting so much number on it.
Oh, yeah. Take one of them zeros off the end. All right, calm down.
I do want to point out, by the way, you mentioned that the Carolina Panthers released Kevin Green. And I was watching this back with my buddy, and he goes, "Wait, did they release him or sign a release that he can wrestle?" And I look it up. This is the year when they released him when he went to the 49ers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
You released Kevin Green. Okay.
Was he really
linebacker?
Good?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's in the Hall of Fame, and second, I think he held for. He might still this day. I don't know. He was a linebacker with the most sacks. So,
damn.
I don't. It might's probably been broken by now, but I don't know. Man, that'd be a cap reason, I guess.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of. Either that or the Panthers are just really stupid.
Well, look at their history. They are still 7 years away from making a Super Bowl, but
yeah.
I mean, he wasn't going to be without a job for more than 2 breaths, right?
Yeah, right. Well, either way, speaking of zeros and not being smart, we now go to this match. I'm kidding. I don't want to insult these guys because 2 out of 4 of them are passed away. One of them is not in good health condition. So
I'm so tired of having to put a disclaimer on this, but we're not making fun of the guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're not.
I don't know why we always got to point that out. Oh, you're talking bad about. That's nothing to do with the human being that I want to show.
Right. Yeah, we're not talking crap about a dead person on a personal level. All right. If we say we don't like someone, we're not talking about them. I shouldn't have to point out we don't like them in the ring, or we didn't like their character, or something like that. Like, for God's sake.
Even though 2 of these weren't characters, I believe. But
right. But either way, it's the Public Enemy of Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge versus Jeff Jarrett and Steve Mongo McMichael with Queen Deborah. This went almost 11 minutes, 10 minutes too long. Every single Public Enemy match has to have a split screen. Did you notice that?
I did. Yeah.
Like, why? Why do we have to know?
Because if there's one tag team in the world who I want to see both of them at the exact same time all the time, it's these 2.
Yeah, right. Must see tag team, Greg. God.
Oh, man.
But
by the way, going real quick, going back to the beginning of our show, two guys who also left ECW. I want to point that out, like kind of recently, to go here.
Yeah, right.
There you
go. But either way, Grunge tries to dive on Jarrett through a table. Jarrett moves, and Grunge goes through the table. So for once, a WCW table does the job.
Yeah, this is the one and only.
Yeah.
Don't get used to it.
Oh, no. But then after that...
I like how Tony Khan's keeping that alive, by the way, nowadays. Every single show must have a table.
Oh, yeah. That's true. At least these ones break easier.
But then they put the exact same thing back together and do it again. Annoys the hell out of me. Just get a new table.
Behind the referee's back, Jarrett locks Grunge in a figure four. Rocco gets on the bottom rope and jumps off to slam Mongo's Halliburton into Jarrett's head. Johnny Grunge then, I guess, kind of pins Jeff Jarrett with his legs for the win. So, yeah. Uncle Dave gave this a 1/4 of a star. I gave it 1. Let's say you.
I don't want to agree with that idiot, but yeah, it sucked. 1 star.
Yeah, Mongo wasn't good. The Public Enemy was not good. Jarrett was serviceable, but he can't carry 3 other dudes. So, yeah, this was what it was, man.
This was on pay-per-view, by the way. This is a pay-per-view, folks.
Yeah, this really
should have been for this.
This should have been Nitro exclusive, and that is it. Either way, we now go backstage with Mean Gene Okerlund. Get yourself ready for this, man. This is at the point of the show where I'm like, oh my God, it's that show.
Yes.
He calls up the Harlem
Heat. Sorry. Off topic. Or no, it's on topic. But earlier you sent me the damn video. I think I watched it 12 times laughing.
Yep, because I found I was watching an uncensored version of this where it wasn't like dubbed over on Peacock or anything. So I saw it. But Mean Gene calls up Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry. Sherry says that they're ready for Lex Luger and the Giant tonight. Booker T is up next, and he drops the now infamous line of, after we take Lex Luger and the Giant, we want the gold, sucker. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you. And then he calls him the N-word. Oh my gosh.
It's funny as hell because you can go back and watch him. He clearly covers his mouth, lowers his head, and he's like, what the hell did I just do?
And he's thinking, I think he talked about this where he was like, I'm fired, aren't I? and you can see, like, because Sherry knows what's going up because she's smiling extra big and she's patting him and she keeps mouthing, it's okay. Like, go back and watch it. I think, if I remember correctly, Eric Bischoff said he didn't really care about this at all. Like, he didn't think about it. He was kind of like, oh, wow. But that was about it. He said nobody called for Booker's head. Nobody wanted him gone. It was like, all right, just don't do it again. And, whatever. So there's something to be said for, not being a terrible employee.
Yeah.
But
I did see an interview real quick with Eric Bischoff about this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Hogan went up to him afterward, and this is kind of aged poorly, right? And said to him, because Book thought he was fired, and I guess Hogan told him, "Don't worry, Book, I'm a good N-word."
Mother of God.
And I'm not cleaning that up, by the way. He literally said, "I'm a good N-word."
What the hell? Well, at least he said N-word.
Yeah, right.
That's something. I don't even know how to respond to that. I think Booker laughed about it too.
I'm not making excuses about it, but I have black friends and they sometimes just drop the word casually when talking to people. It's
right.
I'm not telling anyone how to speak. I'm just saying it happens. So
hey, Booker talked about it. He was like, we said that he was from the hood of Houston. They grew up saying that, like using it like a comma, basically. It is what it is. So he had to train himself not to say it.
Be hypocritical to say something about it because I'm all about freedom of speech. So hey, whatever. I'm not going to say it. I wouldn't think of it,
no.
but like I'm just saying, you do you.
I enjoy living, so I'm not going to say that.
I just don't think it's nice to say at all. Period. But yeah.
Well, yeah. Up next, we've got Dean Malenko defending the United States heavyweight title against Chris Benoit with Woman in his corner. This one went just shy of 18 minutes. Jacqueline Moore comes to the ring at one point and starts beating up Woman. Jimmy Hart then runs out and steals the U.S. title. Eddie Guerrero then runs out with his arm in a sling to stop Jimmy from leaving with the belt. Malenko and Benoit start fighting out. Right. Malenko and Benoit start fighting outside of the ring, and the ref gets distracted, and Arn Anderson runs down to take out Malenko. They're back in the ring now when Kevin Sullivan runs out with a kendo stick and blasts Benoit in the back of the head and knocks him colder than a banker's heart. Malenko shoves Sullivan into Guerrero off the apron, and the ref just throws the match out, as did I at this point. I was like, what is going on? Uncle Dave gave it 3.25 stars. I gave it 2.5 because just so much bullcrap going on. What say you?
I gave it 2, mainly because I was pissed that we know this could have been a 5-star match.
Yeah, we talked about this before. This is reserved for people who aren't that good or you don't think are going to match up that well. This could have been an amazing match.
This could have been the match of the year.
I know. And we've got these two just like 500 people running out for this one. Like, my gosh, this was goofy. But after the match, everyone puts the U.S. title on Eddie Guerrero and leads him to the back. He looks like he's being held against his will. I don't know what the hell is going on here, to be honest with you.
He's very close to turning heel, I believe.
Yeah. Well, Malenko pats Benoit on the shoulder and says something that I couldn't make out. Apparently, he said something.
We're both going to be 4 horsemen soon.
Yeah, right.
Or I'll be one too.
Yeah, right. Apparently, he said something about he, but I don't know. The commentators keep talking about it. They're like, who's he? I'm like, okay.
I couldn't even tell this one anymore. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So,
right. Yeah. If anybody can give us a heads up on what the hell's going on here, including, who that clique is that's coming in, that'd be great.
My only guess would be later in the year we eventually get Raven's Flock, and that can't be that.
No, that's too far off for that one. But this next one is Kevin Nash with 6, Ted DiBiase and Nick Patrick in his corner. Well, Nick Patrick's the ref, but he comes out with him. He's defending.
That's the only way Nash would wrestle this match, by the way. You got to point that out.
Right. He's defending the WCW World Tag Team titles against Rick Steiner in a 1-on-1 match. This went about 10.5 minutes. I think this is the first time ever that the tag titles were decided in a 1-on-1 match.
Yeah, it was the first time ever. Oddly enough, it would happen again the next year with the Giant and Sting.
Really?
Technically. I mean, the winner got both titles and get to pick their partner. But same premise.
They did stuff like that a few times in WCW, if I remember correctly. And then they carried it over to TNA. Used to do stuff like that too. But Nash is still dyeing his hair black like Diesel at this point. Six gets involved behind referee Nick Patrick's back. Rick Steiner kicks out of a jackknife powerbomb. Nash grabs the rope after a Steiner bulldog. Six removes a turnbuckle pad, and Nash hits snake eyes on Rick right onto the steel turnbuckle. Ted DiBiase tries to tell Nash that he's doing too much, and Nash goes off on him. Ted finally just leaves in frustration as Nash repeatedly hits snake eyes on Steiner into the exposed steel turnbuckle. He finally hits a jackknife powerbomb and pins him. Uncle Dave gave this a 1.5 stars. I gave it a star. What say you?
All-star.
Yeah. I realized this was supposed to... It wasn't necessarily supposed to be a match, but now I see why Ted DiBiase shows up shortly after this as the manager for the Steiners.
Shortly after. I think it happens the night of the 100th Nitro, which we're going to be covering, I believe. I believe that's the night it happens.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty far off, actually.
Oh, did they explain from here on, like, why he's doing this? Is it just because he's BFFs with him?
I don't remember, honestly.
Man, we don't like this whole time in WCW is like a blur to us, I guess. Sad.
Pretty much.
We now go backstage with Mean Gene Okerlund standing by with the Giant and Lex Luger. The Giant
with
says
who?
The Giant. Sorry, I had to get it in. Thanks for queuing me up there.
I had to.
Yeah, you had to cue me up. You're throwing it up and I slam it down. But anyway,
alley-oop. You don't do sports much, do you?
No. But the Giant says Hulk Hogan has tried to pit the Giant and Luger against each other, but he considers this let the best man win situation tonight. He says he'll hold no ill will towards Lex if he wins. Luger says that he's going to put prestige back into World Championship Wrestling when he beats Hulk Hogan for the WCW title. And we now go to this. It is I don't know why this is a thing, but it's a 4 corners match for a shot at the WCW title. It is Booker T and Stevie Ray, both with Sister Sherry, taking on Lex Luger and the Giant. Keep in mind, like I said, this is not a tag team match. It's a 4 corners match, but you do have to tag in and out. Only 2 men are legal at a time. Stupid. But it went almost 18 and a half minutes. Stevie Ray is the only person in this match who has never been in WWE, and I just realized that watching this.
And he is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Right. He joins that list of people who have never stepped foot in WWE who are still Hall of Famers in the WWE. Not saying he doesn't deserve it. I mean, because they talked about it. They're like, well, we call it the WWE Hall of Fame, but it's basically just a wrestling Hall of Fame, which kind of is at this point. Like I said,
Abdullah the Butcher's in it, so
God, yeah. There are Mexican luchadors that have never stepped foot in WWE that are in there, so I think El Santo's in there. This is basically a tag match, like I said. The partners start off by just tagging each other in, but it finally breaks down. In the end, the Giant signals for a choke slam, but then he tags in Lex Luger, giving him the go-ahead. Luger then locks Stevie Ray in the torture rack for the submission win. Uncle Dave gave it a star. I gave it dose. What say you?
Give it 2. It wasn't that bad.
Nah, I mean, it wasn't great, but...
What's funny, by the way, we were just talking about Ted DiBiase joining the Steiners. Lex would not cash this, spoiler, from, what was this, 25 years ago? He would not use the cash on this until the 100th Nitro, which I think I talked you into covering in July. So we'll actually be following this up in July. That is going to be when Luger cashes this shot in.
Opportunity, pal. God dang it. But after the match here, the Giant celebrates with Lex Luger, congratulating him. Let's take our second to last break here because this next thing is going to lead into the main event right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
we shared the room.
Shared a room?
We shared the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast?
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah, well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKCAST. KAS there. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
Hey, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at the Broadcast Podcast.
Yeah, but we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
Main event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back. Main event time. We follow the Macho Man Randy Savage talking trash with Miss Elizabeth, coming down from the locker room all the way to the ring. Oh yeah! And then we go to Mean Gene Okerlund backstage with Diamond Dallas Page. DDP says that
Dallas white trash.
Good Lord. DDP says that Savage stepped into his world and now he's going to pay. Look, I'm going to say until Kimberly started talking, I had no idea what he was talking about here. But DDP calls Kimberly over, and Mean Gene talks to her. Kimberly says that DDP is going to destroy Randy Savage for what he did to her. She says that rage is a powerful emotion, and tonight Dallas will take his rage out on the Macho Man. So did he hit her or something?
She was covering up Paige while they were beating him up, and then he sprayed black all over her and NWO on her back.
Gotcha. Okay. There were a few women that got that treatment. But either way, this next match, it is the Macho Man.
Before we go to this next match.
Oh, yeah. Snapping to that can, brother. What are you drinking today?
Sparkling ice drink.
It's not LaCroix, is it?
Not. I can't stand these.
Okay.
It's sparkling ice caffeine, so if you want to sponsor us.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, you and your damn Californians with your damn LaCroix out there.
I hate that crap.
So do I. Unless you want to sponsor us, then I'd love you. Right? It tastes like they dipped a fruit in whatever sparkling water they had, and
yeah, right. I can put a lemon in tap water. Boom, LaCroix.
Right. But this one is the Macho Man Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth in his corner, taking on Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly Page in his corner. It is no disqualification, and it goes for 15 and a half minutes. This one is a no disqualification match. It goes about 15 and a half minutes. These two brawl all around the arena. Savage smacks a bunch of non-wrestlers around. I didn't realize he did this so much in WCW, because this kind of became his thing right before his retirement. Was he just beat the hell out of like referees and cameramen and everybody?
Hell yeah, everyone was a victim.
Yeah, right. He grabs a ring bell at one point.
He had to get on camera more wearing something with Slim Jim. It was part of his contract. So there you go.
Yeah, right. He grabs a ring bell at one point, goes up top, and Kimberly steals it from him. Later on, Savage pile drives a ref and rips his shirt off right before stealing his belt. Nick Patrick then runs to the ring. In the end, DDP hits a diamond cutter on Patrick, hits a diamond cutter, and Patrick has no choice but to count to 3. Uncle Dave claims that the crowd is waiting for Sting to show up, and he never did, so that was a disappointment. But he gave it 3 1/4 stars. I gave it an even 3. What say you?
I gave it 4. This is my match of the year for 97, by the way. I know everyone says the Halloween Havoc match, but this was fantastic.
They wrestle again at this Halloween Havoc?
No, everyone says Halloween Havoc with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, but I thought this was amazing. This is the famous night, by the way. People probably heard the story where Randy Savage said, "I'd like to take the diamond cutter."
Yeah.
This is that event.
Didn't they wrestle again in 98, is it, or 99?
They wrestled multiple times in this year, too, but yeah. And
because there's one pay-per-view match I'm thinking of that didn't they wrestle for the title?
I don't know about the title, but I do know that Macho Man is the referee when Page wins the title.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Yeah, these two, I mean, they were fantastic, and they still, Macho obviously had a lot left in the tank, so this was good stuff. And DDP credits Macho Man with, helping him to become the star that he became. So he can't be denied, man.
Didn't hurt.
Right? Kevin Nash storms to the ring and grabs Nick Patrick to yell at him for making the 3 count. Eric Bischoff and the entire NWO now come to the ring as Nash wakes up Savage and jackknifes Nick Patrick. So I assume he's out of the NWO.
Well, yeah, but go off the story here, he was never in the NWO. People just assumed he was. I still chuckle to this day.
Right. Macho Man grabs Kimberly and Bischoff stops him from smacking her. Macho Man then shoves Bischoff on his ass, and the NWO stops him from beating Eric up. So what happened after that? Did they kiss and make up or what?
They did. It happened multiple times too. Like they just acknowledged Savage as a wild man, and Bischoff's like, I'd rather him be on my side doing this than not on my side. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the last name is Savage, so there you go. But we cut away from all of this just so that the commentary team can tell us what we've already seen tonight, and then we end the show. Uncle Dave said that this show was fine, but otherwise forgettable. And I guess that brings us to our final break. When we come back, it's final ratings time. We'll tell you what's to come next week on the podcast.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper of TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. Expert fantasy advice, free contests, leading expert medical and legal analysis, and most importantly, you. Interact with us on all social media platforms or check us out at tssfantasy.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Check out the fun today and be a part of the most interactive fantasy show around. TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks.
And we're back.
The
Internet Movie Database for final ratings here gave this a 6.2 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 6.14 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. What say you?
Give it a B-.
I'd give it
pretty
probably
decent.
Yeah. If I had to put a grade on it like what you do, I'd probably go with a C. Like right in the middle C. It was good. I didn't like sit there and I was like, oh man, when is this one over? But at the same time, it wasn't anything. I mean,
I thought it opened amazingly and closed amazingly with a bunch of stuff in between. Like it was a great bread with some kind of like crappy meat in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't totally agree with Dave, but I don't totally disagree with him either when he says it was good, but it was kind of forgettable. And the main event
forgettable in the sense that there were better events coming this year. Yes, I'll agree. But
right. And
the fact that Paige and Savage had their first thing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the most standout of it all. I think this really shoved DDP off to be a top guy. So
taking 2 years from this very moment right here to win the title.
Yeah, I know. Part of that
was
Bischoff holding him back. Yeah, right. Part of that was Bischoff holding him back too. So there's something to be said for that. For all of you out there that don't know, if you were expecting, because by this time Greg is back from Dallas, if you were expecting,
I landed yesterday.
Yeah, if any of you were expecting WrestleMania talk on this one, sorry, we recorded early so that he didn't have to, try to squeeze in a recording time, the day he comes back from Dallas. So
actually, that would have been a lot more easier than squeezing editing time into you, honestly. So
yeah, right. I would have been.
That's what I was
freaking
thinking
madman.
about. I could have easily been like, I can record on Tuesday when I get back. Like, that's messed up though, dude. No.
Yeah, right. So I mean, we were trying to make it easier on both of us. So we record early, get it in the can. It's a lot better, and it gives me time to get. Not
bad because we only do classic stuff anyway, so it's not like we gotta,
Yeah, It's all evergreen. We're not talking about anything current here. If you do want current stuff, though, if you go to our YouTube page, you can hear Curtain Jerkin with Jacob Grandi. He's got great material there of current stuff. But what is to come for us is through April. I'll just tell you what's to come next week. On
good
April
stuff
13th. Here. Yeah, next week we are covering TNA Lockdown 2007. I haven't watched it back yet, but I'm already going to assume it was better than Destination X.
Light years.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's the electrified steel cage match that we'll talk about. I'm not saying anything about the quality of it, but a lot of people have opinions on it.
Dude, WrestleMania 17 is one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. It still had that hardcore match, okay? Not every 5-star pay-per-view is going to have every match be great. Let's be real.
Yep.
So, there's that.
Very true, man. But yeah, this one, I mean, we just talked about a great WrestleMania 24, that had that stupid Playboy Bunny Mania match, whatever, that sucked. So,
hey, parts of me liked it. I mean, I like parts of it.
Good Lord. But that's coming up next week. Is Lockdown is the all-cage pay-per-view from TNA as we continue our tour of 2007 in TNA. We've actually got 2 Lockdowns this month because we're closing out the month with Lockdown 2012 for the 10-year anniversary. So that will be fun. Looking forward to this month, actually. We've got, 6 shows? Or no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got 5 shows. But we're doing some good stuff this year. We're going back to this era a couple of times. Looking forward to it. But thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you all next week with Lockdown.